All right, let's dive into the quiet, melancholic, and pretty unforgettable world of Haruki Murakami's landmark novel, Norwegian Wood. It's a really powerful story about love and loss and that painful process of growing up. And believe it or not, it's all kicked off by a single song.
You know, really early in the book, you get hit with this one powerful sentence. Death is not the opposite of life, but a part of it. And this right here, this is the philosophical heart of the entire story. It's a tough lesson our narrator has to learn. And honestly, it's a truth that just haunts every single page.
So how can a song, just one song, pull you all the way back into a memory from 18 years ago? Well, that's exactly how this story kicks off. Our narrator, Toru Watanabe, is on an airplane when the Beatles' Norwegian Wood comes on, and just like that, the music throws him almost 2 decades into his past. And just like that, we're transported right there with him. He's a 37-year-old man, but boom, he's suddenly back in his university days in the late 1960s, a time that was, for him, defined by some really intense personal turmoil.
The very first thing that comes back to him is this memory of a quiet, grassy field and a girl named Naoko. And it's there that she tells him about this deep, invisible well hidden somewhere in that meadow, which is this chilling metaphor for the constant danger of just being swallowed up by darkness and depression. She actually tells him, "As long as I'm close to you, I won't fall in." I mean, can you imagine? She sees Watanabe as her anchor, her one connection to the world that can keep her from falling into that darkness. That is a huge burden to put on anybody, let alone a young guy who's still trying to figure things out for himself. Okay, so to really understand Naoko's fragility and this shadow that hangs over both of them, we have to go back even further. We have to look at the one single event that completely shattered their youth and pretty much shaped the rest of their lives. See, back in high school, it was this inseparable trio: Watanabe, his best friend Kazuki, and Kazuki's girlfriend Naoko. But then one night, with absolutely no warning, Kazuki ran a hose from his car's exhaust into the car and ended his life. This is the foundational trauma that everything else in the story is built on. And Kazuki's death just fundamentally rewires Watanabe's whole understanding of the world. It's what teaches him that death isn't some distant thing on the other side of life. Nope. It's already here, woven into every single moment, like dust you're breathing in. Life and death, they're not opposites at all. They're totally intertwined. So after his friend's death, Watanabe does what a lot of us would do. He tries to escape. He moves to Tokyo for college, hoping to leave it all behind. But of course, it's not that simple. His new life gets defined by this impossible choice between two profoundly different women. On one side, you've got Naoko. She represents the past. She's almost like a ghost, completely bound to the memory of Kizuki. And their love is this quiet, beautiful, fragile thing. And then on the other side, there's Midori. She is the vibrant, chaotic, demanding present. She is this absolute force of life, pulling him hard toward the future. Well, Naoko's mental health gets a lot worse, and she ends up retreating to this remote mountain sanatorium. As her connection to the world starts to fade, her plea to Watanabe is just haunting. "I want you to remember me. Remember that I existed." She's just so desperate not to be erased. And then you get this almost shocking contrast with Midori. She demands something totally different. "All I'm asking for is to be allowed to be selfish, 100% selfish." She's not asking to be a memory. She's demanding to be a reality right now. She wants a love that is total, present, and just unapologetically alive. So you can see the problem here, right? Watanabe is completely trapped. He feels this deep, binding responsibility to Naoko, to be her anchor and wait for her. But he just cannot deny the warmth and the joy, the sheer force of life that he feels with Midori. He's just stuck in this agonizing emotional swamp. And then the choice is taken from him. While he's stuck, torn between these two worlds, he gets the news. Naoko has taken her own life. She's finally succumbed to the darkness, to that invisible well she was so afraid of. This news just completely shatters him. His whole world collapses. He's consumed by this unforgivable guilt and a sorrow that's so deep it doesn't even have a name. So he just walks away from his life. He wanders aimlessly across Japan for a month, completely lost in his grief.
So how does he find his way back from that kind of desolate place?
Well, his journey back to the world of the living starts with a visit from a surprising person, Reiko, Naoko's older friend and music teacher from the sanatorium.
And what they do together is just beautiful. They hold their own private funeral for Naoko, but there are no tears. There's only music. For an entire night, they play 50 songs on her guitar. It's this incredibly powerful, cathartic ritual to honor her memory and to finally, consciously, process their grief. Before she leaves, Reiko gives him this profound gift. She tells him, "Live happily. Live enough for my share and for Naoko's share too." Think about that. It's not just permission to be happy. It's urging him to truly live, not just for himself, but for those who are gone too.
And that changes everything for him. He finally gets it. He has to stop living in the past. He has to make a real choice and fully commit himself to the world of the living. So what does he do? He picks up a phone and he makes the call that will define his future. He reaches out to Midori, choosing life. He pours his heart out, tells her he wants her and only her, that he wants to start over. And after a silence that feels like an eternity, she asks him one simple, devastating question. Where are you now?
Watanabe looks around the phone booth, and he has no idea. He's in the middle of nowhere. The book ends with him, "From the center of a place that was nowhere, I continued to call for Midori." And it's this perfect, ambiguous ending. He has chosen life, he has chosen the future, but the story's final lesson is that sometimes that very first step of a new beginning is the realization that you are completely and utterly lost.